Guys, this is Will from EDM Tips. Now if your low end on your tracks is sounding muddy or thin or weak, this video is for you. I'm going to show you in 5 minutes how to balance your kick and your bass to go from a low end like this to something like this. I'm going to show you how to do it step by step in Ableton Live. Now if you don't have Ableton, don't worry, because these techniques work in any DAW, so you could be using FL Studio or Logic Pro. So without further ado, let's hop into Ableton and get it done. Okay, so we are going to look at 4 steps today for getting our low end really big and fat. Step 1 is tuning the kick, step 2 is fattening the bass, step 3 is carving the EQ, and step 4 is bussing. Now we're going to go through these really quickly so we can do it in 5 minutes, but if you want more tips like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel and download my 30 mixing tips cheat sheet for free below this video. Okay, so here we are in Ableton Live. I've been working on this proggy track. It's a bit like Prider, you know, like Eric Prydz, so let's have a quick listen. So first thing I did was tune the kick. Now this is really important and so many people don't know to do this, but it can make such a huge difference to stop your kick and your bass line clashing with each other. So I'll show you what I mean. Here we have got our bass line. And we also have our kick. And tuning the kick to the bass line and the actual root note of the song will stop these frequencies clashing. Now I know that my track is in the key of C sharp, so let's loop the first bar, and the bass line starts off with C sharp. And we basically want our kick to be hitting C sharp too. So that kick and that bass line are now in the same key, so it's going to stop fighting frequencies. Okay, step 2 is fattening the bass and getting it sound lovely and wide and good on all speakers instead of just really good headphones or studio monitors. We want it to sound good on iPhone speakers or laptop speakers or car stereo. And the way we do that is by adding frequencies to the bass line by using saturation. And what we've done here is I've just got my dry bass line, and I've made another channel. I've just used the group feature in Ableton Live, and I've rolled off the bottom end because we don't actually need more of the bottom end. That's going to muddy up our mix too much. And then I've added some bit reduction to make it a bit crunchier, which adds harmonics. And then I've added a guitar rig. Now this is a premium plugin by Native Instruments, but basically I've just widened the stereo signal. It's like a Haas widener, and that spreads the signal out to either side. So this is without fattening and widening, and this is with fattening and widening. Okay, step 3, carving the EQ. And now this is where you make space in your mix by allowing the kick to breathe through. Now you can do this with sidechain compression. I'm sure you've all seen it where the kick drum ducks out the bass, but I don't want to use sidechain compression in this track because I like the full fat sound. So what I do is I load up an EQ on the kick channel. Let's just use the Ableton one, EQ8. Turn it all off, and we just want to see what it's doing, so we can see what the frequencies are. Now let's copy that and stick it on over our bass line. Okay, so we can see our bass line has got quite a lot going on around this region, which is about 200 Hertz to 400 Hertz. So what we can do is we can go to the kick drum, and we can actually scoop out a bit of space in that range. Not too much though, we don't want to weaken the kick drum. Like that, it takes all the energy out of it. We can notch it down just a little bit, and that basically allows a bit more space for the bass line and the kick drum to meld together without clashing with the frequencies and making the bass too muddy and too cluttered. Okay, and step 4 is bussing, and what that means is basically sending the kick and the bass to its own channel and then processing them together. So we're going to add a bit of saturation and a bit of compression just to glue them together. So what you do is create a channel. We're just going to call that K and B bus, kick and bass bus. Give it a nice red color so we know what it is. Monitor in. And now we send the kick to that bus, audio out, K and B bus, and we send the bass to that bus, audio to K and B bus, and we send the audio from the bus to the master. So now the kick and the bass are being processed together. So what we can do is add a bit of saturation. Now this is very gentle, this is just to give the kick and the bass a bit more body, and then we're going to glue them together a little bit with a compressor. Now it's important when you're doing this to adjust the output as well, so you're getting an accurate representation of the effect, because if you just add these effects it makes it sound louder, which kids you into thinking it sounds better, but we want an accurate comparison. And what the saturation is doing is just adding a few more frequencies to warm up the sound. And now we're going to add a glue compressor and add some gentle compression, only gentle, just to glue the kick and the bass together. And again, we'll do the makeup to be the amount that we've reduced the volume by, which is about 4 decibels. So we get an accurate representation without the compressor and with the compressor. So you can hear it just fattens it up a bit. And that is how you can really fatten up your low end without making it muddy and without having it be weak and thin. Remember, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and again, download my free 30 mixing tips cheat sheet below this video, and I'll see you next time.